Hacking Overwatch fans, welcome to another thrilling day of Overwatch League action here in Los Angeles. It's day 2 of week 3, and some of our biggest stars take the stage. The stage's top team is riding high after a convincing 3-1 win over Philly last night. The NYXL look locked in right now and hope to keep it rolling. The Atlanta Reign had an up and down stage 2 so far, but they can get back to 500 on the year with an upset today. We're less than 30 minutes away from finding out if they can shock the Overwatch world. We are inside the Blizzard Arena and get you all set for the action. This is the Watchpoint pre-show. I am Malik, joined by Matt, Zoe, and the guy who thinks his forehead is bigger than mine, but it's definitely not, Sideshow.
We did measure it once, didn't we?
Yeah, and Malik's was larger, which I'm perfectly happy to have the second largest forehead.
I thought when Malik was going to say biggest stars, I thought he was going to go into like a 15-second monologue of me joining the desk for the day. I was kind of disappointed. I was like, here's my hype moment.
He'd already said Matt. If he was talking about the biggest star, it would have been me.
No, I'm letting you off the hook so far, Matt. All right, guys, we have an absolutely packed show for you today. We sat down with some of the best tanks in the league to share how they pop off for their teams and what you can do at home to dominate as a tank as well. Plus, we peek inside the comms for last week's crazy Reign Justice matchup to get an inside look at how Atlanta can come out on top. And we pit our analysts against each other in one of my favorite verbal fisticuffs that we have here at the desk in our latest Attack or Defend. When the best take the stage, we'll see fan favorites Philly and Houston square off. The Valiant face the Justice, and the night closes with the Spark burst the charge. And Atlanta looks to pull off the biggest upset of the year. The Reign will attempt to get back to 500 this year despite a rocky start to stage 2. To do that, they'll have to beat the mighty NYXL, who have looked like an absolute juggernaut to start stage 2. Sideshow, what has made this New York squad so unstoppable?
Well, it's actually mental thinking about New York this year, because we all knew that they were the best team of 2018. Throughout the entirety of the regular season last year, they were unbelievably dominant. And yet this year, they've come out and they might even be more dominant. We haven't seen them attempt like back-to-back undefeated stages. They're on a match win streak in the regular season that's better than they did last year. They are just dominating fools, apart from the other top 2 teams.
I mean, I just worry, though, that they have not been tested at all in this stage, and then you go into the playoffs and you haven't really had like some of those good warm-up games where, I mean, you look at their schedule in stage 2. I mean, they have that tough game against, both games against the Fusion are their toughest games. And I mean, look, you play Fusion twice, you play the Reign twice, and then it's filled in with Mayhem, Justice, and Dragon.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Fusion are one of the next best teams. Like,
you may not play a playoff team all stage in the regular season before the playoffs. Like,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right, Zoe, the Reign have been living that struggle life here in stage 2. So what's the biggest reason for their struggles, and how do they turn that around?
Well, I think the Reign, they just underwent a lot of changes coming into this stage. Mainly, where is Daco? He just disappeared. He took all the vowels with him as well, and then we were left with FRD. And let's just compare those two fellas and see who's coming out on top. And as you can see, it's actually pretty darn even. So maybe on paper, Daco's disappearance didn't really make that big of a difference. I think it's just the overall shift where they did lose the Fran, they had to get adjusted with Baby Bay, now they have to like start gelling with each other again, and the meta changed as well, and they are a new team, and I think we discussed that yesterday on the desk, that it's gonna be a lot harder for them with less experience to adjust to not just a new meta, but also actual within the team changes which are being made.
Right, not to mention the fact that a lot of the important diva qualities don't show up on the stat cards. Am I right to say that, analyst?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, I mean, just the positioning of the diva, right? Defense matrix usage, a lot of that doesn't really show up in the stats.
Right. All right, well, in our second match of the day, the Philadelphia Fusion battled the Houston Outlaws. Now, the Outlaws, they've only played one game this stage following the Vancouver. The Fusion are coming off a disheartening performance versus the NYXL, dropping their record to 3-2. Mr. X, what should Philly's mindset be coming into this game?
For Philadelphia, this is a must-win game if they want to make the stage playoffs. They absolutely need a win here against the Outlaws. And I think the Outlaws are probably a little tougher than people expect. They looked pretty good against Vancouver the other day. But I think, Philly, they're a team that I feel like the meta really hasn't shifted to something that they would really enjoy. Right, if you get into something where you see some more damage dealers and Carpe and EQO can really hit their stride, I think you'll definitely see Philly, climb up the overall standings. I think, though, Philly still a team that should be in the stage playoffs, so they need a win here today.
Yeah, you know who also needs a win? Houston Outlaws. I want to look at one of the most important matchups we will be having here, and that's going to be Sado and Muma. So let's take a look at the direct comparison of those two main tanks and where they excel and maybe where they drop the ball a little bit. Muma has been looking fantastic when it comes to his Reinhardt. He is leading the charge currently with his Earth-Shatter efficiency. Of course, that's just one stat, and that also ties back into how his team is playing around it and does the setups for him to actually land those Earth-Shatters, etc.
He has been really clutch with them, though. It's been very impressive, actually.
And not just his Reinhardt. I think also Muma really stepped it up on his Winston. I also really like what we saw from him on his Wrecking Ball, something he has been practicing a lot as of late, as well as his Orisa. Whereas I think Sado has been a little up and down, not quite as consistent as Muma. So I think as far as tank matchup goes, Houston Outlaws might have the upper hand here.
Right. We should play a Coca-Cola drinking game for how many times we see Sado die first in team fights. That'd be cool.
Poor dude.
Poor
Feels
dude.
like I'm the only person that tries to justify it, but it's much like the Valiant. I'm the apologist on the desk all the time.
Sado's performance just changes so drastically by the game. I think that's like the scariest part. Sometimes
So
he
does
comes out and he
Fusions.
dominates, yeah, but then sometimes
Well,
it's not great.
Sideshow, last year, these two teams, they had some pretty epic matches. We all know that. But what can you tell us about their game today?
Well, I love this matchup previously because these two teams always have really close games. And I think a lot of people don't really think about it as being a rivalry per se. But look how close every single one of their games were last season. And a lot of people think of the Fusion as being a much better team than the Outlaws because they went on that crazy run at the end of the season. And they just have such a high level of potential within this team. But actually, they finished relatively close to each other at the end of the season. Like, they were fighting for that last playoff spot. And they actually look fairly even now on paper. Maybe not on paper, but by the eye test.
I mean, we had
okay.
a stage last year where the Outlaws are like one map against London from potentially playing in like a stage final. Like the Outlaws are really strong at the beginning of last year.
Which is wild, right? Because sometimes the Outlaws just look so mediocre, and yet they continue to put up like reasonable results to the point where they have to make a case for themselves being a pretty decent middle of the pack team.
And honestly, their start in this stage looked a lot better than what we've seen from Fusion so far.
Right.
They are 3 and 5.
I mean, even if we look at stage one, some of those matches were very close that they lost. So there's a lot to say about the Houston Outlaws. But guys, we all remember Erster's epic 6K last week against the Justice. Next, we're going inside the cons of the Justice and Reign squads to see how it all went down. Stay tuned. That's next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show presented by State Farm.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Yo, it's a packed house tonight, bro. Let's go.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, fighting!
Okay, let's go. 3, 2, 1.
Fighting! We're so bad.
Yeah.
We are better than this team. Everyone, play more aggressive. Don't be scared.
Then I headshot on a baby bay from Corey.
Hey, be aware. Be aware of Widow.
That is a third pick on the Dogman's Moira. Perfect work coming in here from Corey.
Oh, man.
Where's the first one?
Not like this.
Go back.
No, sorry.
터치 포인트.
천천히 한개 천천히.
That is brutal. The stick from Erster. Erster just aced it. 6 kills for him.
Point. Nice, Erster. Holy. Now we can win out. We beat New York. Oh yeah.
That's it. That's your match.
The LA Valiant and Washington Justice are both looking for their second win of the year. The Valiant have looked improved, and the Justice are still struggling so far with a 0-4 record this stage. Mr. X, the Justice acquired Sleepy from the San Francisco Shock today. How does that improve their team?
Oh, I think it definitely improves the Washington Justice. No, he's a very strong flex support where you have Guido in the role right now, where Guido was really like a DPS player who played like a backup flex support for Seoul Dynasty, and then he comes over to the Justice where he plays flex support. But I think Sleepy, though, just he brings a very good Zenyatta, very good Ana. I think you throw him in to this lineup. Like, if I was him, I'd throw him in right away. I mean, what do you have to lose? You're 0-4.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's that experience from the top team as well, right? Like, I think that the veteran experience of Ark and Sleepy is going to be useful.
The only thing I worry about, though, is when was the last time Sleepy actually played like a meaningful game? It was last year. And, most likely with Violet on the team, you weren't getting really a ton of run in scrimmages. So how fast can you get, like, into Overwatch League game shape? I think that's what you worry about. But if you're 0-4, you have some games to play with, right? I mean, you might as well just throw them in.
Yeah.
That's fair. Well, I think arguably the strongest Washington Justice has looked is when Corey was on that Widowmaker. We just got a little taste of it in the clip we saw. So let's take a look at some statistics here from Corey on that Widowmaker. His team is statistically doing very, very well when he is getting those first picks during team fights. Their teamfight win after that first elimination is, however, like below league average. The league average is at 81%. They're at 78%. He is, however, making them look a lot better by being able to get those first pick-offs. However, there's only so much you can do as a single player to actually carry your team. Also, it's not really possible to just always play Widowmaker. Their stats when he's on Zarya look not quite as good. So there's still so much work for this team to do, but they are making the changes, and that's the important part.
I mean, Sleepy's been a part of a winning atmosphere. Maybe he can help Corey unlock his full potential. Now, Sideshow, translocating to the other side of things in this matchup, the Valiant are slowly starting to look more like the team we saw last year. How big is this game today?
Maybe they look too much on the paper like the team from last year. Maybe they should be making some changes like the Justice. This is a really big game for the Valiant, though. They have only just started to gain the tiniest little shred of confidence after they managed to beat the Atlanta Reign and then play the Gladiant fairly close in the battle for LA. If they end up losing this game, it's all back to zero for them, I think. And they'll just be making no progress. They'll just be shattered human beings. So I think they absolutely have to win this game in order for the Valiant to start trending back up at all.
They've been shattered already. I think you're just trying to glue the pieces back together. I think that's what they're trying to do. I mean,
but I can still see some kind of direction out of this if they're still trying to make these changes that we thought would come in. But I mean, there's too much talent on this team for them to just stay at the bottom the entire year. We know that they can be good.
It's a pivotal game for them momentum-wise, to say. All right, guys, but for our nightcap on this fantastic Friday, we have the first battle of the Zhougs. The Hangzhou Spark and the Guangzhou Charge will do battle for the first time this year. Guangzhou certainly hasn't charged out the gates in Stage 2, but the Spark have looked better with a 500 record. Sideshow, who has stood out on the Spark side for you?
I'm going to name a guy who has an unbeaten map record in the Overwatch League right now. It's Crystal. He's incredible. He's going to lead this team to be unbeaten throughout the entirety of the league. Maybe not, but...
That's a Brent prediction.
The guys, yeah, that was a Brent prediction. Bold. The guy's only played 3 maps so far for the Hangzhou Spark, and I thought he'd be integrated a little earlier, actually. He does speak Mandarin, same as Gushui, the 2 Chinese players on this team, with the rest of them all speaking Korean. But Gushui got kind of integrated first, so maybe, he took a little bit more time to be able to fit with the communication structure of Spark. Maybe they just actually enjoyed playing Adora on the Brigitte instead of Crystal. But I think Crystal actually gives him quite a lot. He looked good on Brig. Yeah. He can play a bunch of other heroes to a really good level. And he has that synergy with Gushui from the Chinese World Cup, where that duo actually looked super scary.
I think Gushui and IDK are a really sick duo as well. I think when you talk about the Spark, their mechanical skill is up there with the best. It's just getting the teamwork down. And you kind of saw in this last map against Boston, they were just making such sick individual plays. Like the primal rages to knock players off and get back to the point. IDK with the double boot, knowing that color X has the grab, like just like such a big brain play. That's what you could say on the desk, right? It's fair.
Yeah.
It is so sick to watch these guys play. It's like if they ever figure out the teamwork stuff and get on the same page, they'll be a really scary team.
All right, well, on the other side, we have the Guangzhou Charge. So they started off so strong, but they kind of fallen off. So what do they do to turn that around?
Well, I think they're playing way too scared. This is something we have been saying about their games as of late, because they are at the point where they are getting spawn camped. That's right, spawn camped. I'm talking about a team which has actually made their name a great honor by just charging in. They even made jokes about it, that they only have W keys on their keyboard. If you're looking at their first death rate percentage in stage 2, they're really far down the bottom of the league, 17th out of 20, and that is an increase of 7.1% from what they showed us last stage. So all their plays they're right now making, all this scaredness is actually really reflecting in their statistics, and that's sad to see, because there is a lot of talent on this team. They could be a really good mid-table team at least.
I mean, they should be.
They should be, yeah.
They've got the, I mean, we saw the talent come out in stage 1, but I think it's all to do with their confidence. I think you've hit it perfectly on the head. They're just mentality's cracked at the moment.
They need that W-lace keyboard again. They need to bring that back. All right, guys. Well, a good tank is really the engine that makes a team go. We got some of the league's best together to discuss their favorite moments from the year and how you can pop off as a tank at home. That's next on the Watchpoint Pre-Show.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
In the 3-3 meta, a team revolves around the play of their tanks. With tanks being more important than ever in this meta, Fisher, Mono, and Rhea got together to break down what it means to be a tank in GOATS and the moments this year that made their jaws drop.
이번 메타가 확실히 다른 메타보다 메인 탱커가 좀 더 주목받는 메타인 것 같고 제 생각에는 메인 탱커한테 기회가 왔다고 해야 되나? 저는 그렇게 생각하고 있어요.
메인 탱커 자체의 실력도 중요하지만은 어차피 이 고치라는 메타가 누구 하나가 잘해서 이기는 메타가 아니라 팀 전부가 팀업이 가장 잘 맞아야 하는, 지금 저는 생각하는 게 쇼크, 밴쿠버, 뉴욕 같이 이런 세 팀 다 피지컬 자체가 엄청 투출해서 잘한다는 느낌보다는 세 팀 다 정말 팀업이 되게 잘 맞는다고 생각하거든요.
디바는 딱 정해져 있는 것 같아요. 이제 자탄 자포가 아닌 이제 자포 혼자 했는데 2킬이 2킬 3킬이 나면 좀 짜릿한 것도 있고 좀 부담감이 드는 게 이제 디바가 피지컬로 할 수 있는 이제 자탄을 먹는 약간 센스라든지 그런 걸 이제 대회 때 상대 팀은 하고 나는 못 해버리면 좀 많이 부담이 되고 좀 위축되는 것 같기도 해요.
저 같은 경우에는 이제 라인끼리 진짜 단순히 망치 심리전을 할 때가 있잖아요, 많이 대회에서. 그래서 딱 그때 도움 없이 심리전으로 망치 싸움 이겼을 때가 짜릿한 것 같아요.
저는 이제 발리언트 전 때 부산 세차를 맵에서 카리브 선수의 자탄을 먹고 이제 자폭을 해가지고 3킬이 나는 그런 어떻게 보면 드라마틱한 이제 동연계기도 한데 이제 그거 했을 때 제가 하고도 안 믿긴 그런 순간이어가지고 좀 많이 기억에 남는 것 같아요.
저 같은 경우는 아무래도 청도 헌터즈 일리오스 전에서 타팀이 이제 메르시를 썼었는데 발키리로 도망가는 거를 제가 화염강타로 저격한 적이 있었거든요.
유명했던.
그건 저도 기억합니다.
뭐 깜짝 놀랐었는데. 진짜.
From downtown. Whoa! As a Rhine player, I always enjoy those.
일반 유저한테도 얘기하고 싶고 저한테도 얘기하고 싶은데 메인 탱커가 무언가를 좀 크게 하려고 하면 안 되는 것 같아요. 이번 시즌에서 가장 크게 느낀 거는 굳이 제가 안 해도 팀이 잘 해줄 수 있는데 제가 조금 더 앞서 나가는 경우에 팀의 유지력이 현저히 급격히 떨어지는 거를 제가 좀 크게 느꼈거든요. 그걸 이제 일반 유저들한테도 얘기하고 싶은 게 여러분들이 만약에 메인 탱커를 하고 있을 때 진짜 완벽하게 캐리할 수 있는 상황이 아니면은 최대한 참고 버티면서 팀을 믿는 게 가장 베스트인 것 같아요.
이번 메타에서 디바는 수비적인 디바보다는 이제 저희 라인이 버텨줄 수 있게 어그로를 많이 끌어주면서 암살을 시도도 하면서 약간 공격적인 플레이가 좀 많이 필요로 하는데 일반인들 이제 고치를 하는 거 많이 보면은 옛날에 디바 같이 자기는 이제 라인 방벽 뒤에만 숨어 있다 보니까 이제 저희 라인이 많이 힘들어지는 거죠. 방벽 관리도 안 되고. 근데 일반인들이 좀 생각을 해줬으면 하는 게 고지대를 먹어주면서 상대를 어그로 많이 끌어주는 플레이를 많이 해줬으면 하는 게 좀 많이 보이더라고요.
오늘 일단 탱커끼리 이야기를 해서 되게 재밌었고 아까 말씀하신 것처럼 다음에 커피나 한 잔 같이 하는 걸로. 네. 오늘 수고하셨습니다.
All right, it's time for one of my favorite segments. I get to set a point, and the analysts either attack or defend it. Guys, let's keep it simple. First up, Sinatra has been playing like a man possessed, leading the league in hero damage per 10, time to ult, and a whole lot more. So, will Sinatra win the 2019 MVP award presented by T-Mobile? Mr. X, attack or defend?
I'm going to defend this. I think he will. I think by the end of the season, you'll probably see the Shock win at least one stage, and I think the stats actually back it up. I think, like, unlike last year where you had Jonak just kind of like dominating in one position, I think everything is so close this year that I think you can definitely, make a case for
yeah,
Sinatra.
but it is super close this year. Like, even when the Shock were doing fantastically last stage, like, it was even arguable that Sinatra wasn't the greatest Zarya, even though the entirety of his team plays around him. And then what happens if he moves away from Zarya?
So who would you take?
I'd take Bumper. Bumper is the league MVP. He's going to be the
That's
MVP.
a safe answer,
He's so
Sideshow.
good. He's
All right,
so
next
good.
topic. There are currently 5 undefeated teams in Stage 2, and none of them play each other before the Stage 2 playoffs. Will the Gladiators, NYXL, Shock, Spitfire, and Titans all sit unbeaten once we start the stage playoffs? Sideshow, attack or defend?
Okay, I'm going to defend this one. I think there's a very strong chance that we have 5 undefeated teams by the end of this stage, because nobody's arguing there's going to be top 3. The top 3 should be undefeated. So it just comes down to Gladiators and London. They don't have a single match where they should be the underdogs. They should be undefeated by the end
but
of
just
the stage.
because you're not the underdog doesn't mean you can't lose. And I do think there is a realistic chance that we see Houston can take the game against London. We do see Hunters going up against the Gladiators as well as London. That's always a wild card. You can't prepare against the Chengdu Hunters.
It's going to be too easy. It's going to be too easy. They already know how to beat Chengdu. They're too easy.
Games. Last topic, the Chengdu Hunters have made waves in Stage 2 and currently sit in the 6th spot for the stage playoffs. So, will the Chengdu Hunters make the stage playoffs? Zoe, attack or defend?
I'm going to defend it. I do think there is a realistic chance, despite everything Sideshow just said, that the Hunters can actually make it. They are having the element of surprise, and it is still working for them. Even though Jinmu can be countered on his Pharah, you still have Amang on his Hammond. You still going to have that Elza, Symmetra, weirdness, Bunker Comp. They are hard to prepare.
We saw the Dragons. They had a little bit of time to prepare, and they came in and they were able to really decimate the Hunters, where I think a lot of teams are going to roll in to play against the Hunters, a little bit more damage dealer heavy, and they're going to give the Hunters a lot of problems. They really showed that they didn't have a lot of hit scans.
I don't know. I got to go with Zoe. I'm on the Chengdu train myself. I think they're looking really good, guys.
Your heresy.
All right, guys. Well, we are less than 10 minutes from Jonak and the boys leading the NYXL onto the Blizzard Arena stage to face Atlanta. We got our match predictions coming right up on the Watchpoint pre-show.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
have a look at the NYXL getting prepared for today's match. Off the back of a win against the Philadelphia Fusion last night, will they make it 2-0 today? They got to go through the Atlanta Reign, who on the other side are just looking to get back to 500. Can they synergize and pull off the biggest upset of the year against New York? We're going to find out.
Who's that? Who's that? Little Ducko?
Oh, yeah.
Hello.
Good question. Who is that? Well, guys,
Hello.
let's see who our analysts are picking today. Not a lot of differences today. Everyone has the NYXL Valiant and Spark to win, but Zoe is picking the Outlaws while Mr. X and Sideshow are backing the Fusion. Zoe, why the Outlaws today over the Fusion?
Because I'm still not sold on the Fusion, and also they burned me last time I picked them, and I don't forget. All right, and I don't. I'm not.
I could definitely see Houston taking that game, though. I think it's going to be really
a coin
close.
toss here. Really.
Are you guys confident in your picks?
No. I mean, I even wrote like the editorial for this week, like predictions, and this one I just sat around my apartment for like 30 minutes. I was like, who's gonna win? I didn't flip a coin. I didn't have a coin, but I just kind of guessed.
Yeah. All right, well, so none of us is actually confident.
Nobody's confident about their pick.
It's going to be a great game.
All right, guys, that does it for the Watchpoint pre-show presented by State Farm. We're going to see you guys at halftime. I can't believe you guys are
not confident enough.
It's
Yeah,
not
every now and then
confident
there's a
in your
game.
pick.
I will say, watch out for the Washington Justice, because I think that even though I don't think they'll win, I think they actually could. There's a
What
decent
kind of answer
possibility.
is that?
Well,
all right, guys. All right, it's time for the
could do it.
matches. Enjoy your Overwatch. We'll see you in a bit.